Ladies and gentlemen, the program is ready to begin. My name is Tenchi Gyatso, and I'll be your MC today. First, on behalf of the Office of Tibet to the Americas and the Capital Area Tibetan Association, I'd like to welcome you all to this joyous occasion. Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. are two illustrious personalities whose life continues to inspire His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and I'm sure also all of you here in this audience. His Holiness refers to them as great masters who were true practitioners of nonviolence and who used the power of nonviolence to promote freedom for their people and people around the world. So as we begin this special celebration of the 76th birthday of His Holiness, please join me in welcoming Mr. Martin Luther King III, Dr. King's son, Mr. Arun Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi's grandson, and His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet.
Bác hỏi đây. Oh. So, sit.
Your Holiness, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Capital Area Tibetan children will now present a song in celebration of His Holiness.
그렇지.
Thank you, children. As a symbol of the universal reverence and respect that His Holiness enjoys, we have a traditional greeting procession of representatives of some of the communities gathered here. These include representatives of Indian,
Remember that? Kada. I think just put here. Those Kada. Wait. Thank you. Ka. Thank you. Thank you.
So these are Indian, Kalmyk.
Ka. Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hi.
Mongolian.
Mongolian, no? Okay, thank you. You from Mongolian, no? Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Oh yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Japanese.
Japanese, yes.
Happy birthday, Your Holiness.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, yes.
Chinese.
We see online, TV.
谢谢。好，硬的。好，谢谢。Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you. 你好。谢谢。哦。
This sculpture represents protectors Tibet.
Thank you. 谢谢 Kishore. 谢谢。好，看。
Bhutanese.
如何 ？Thank you. 哦耶，谢谢。土耳其。
Himalayan communities of Nepal.
로치미야, 무슨 예. 따망. 어 예. 두치. 어 예. 두치차. 니샹. 두치차. 가, 그늘사. You from Wolong? Oh yeah. 두지체.
Vietnamese.
Oh. Thank you. Okay. Oh. 네. Vietnamese. Thank you. Vietnamese. Right. Thank you. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ka.
Americans,
Oh.
Americans.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Holiness.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Kare. Oh yeah. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Oh yeah. 그렇지. 그렇지.
and Tibetan Americans representing the 3 provinces of Tibet.
가. 안 돼. 이제. 야야야. 这是国际的，蛮说了。当然了，哦，这个，你这，哎呀，然后跟那里，对，嘿嘿嘿嘿嘿嘿嘿嘿哦，这个呀，看，第二节球，哦，还是。 这个的嘞，看，别个的我这个呀，是吧？哦呀，哦，跟着嘞，给别人呢，然后嘞，哦呀，这看到这个照。
And lastly, Kasu Jingme Rinpoche will present His Holiness the first copy of a book titled Jigde Mikbe, featuring a comprehensive collection of photos from His Holiness's life, published in celebration of His Holiness's 76th birthday.
아래요. 주고 매일 표시요. 태버지 거야 소치했어. 난 리자. 어야야. 좋지. 제제. 어야. 어야. 좋지.
It's now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Kanten Lodde, President of the Capital Area Tibetan Association, the organization that has invited His Holiness to give the historic Kala Chakra teaching for world peace here in the nation's capital.
I think 3-4 years old.
Tashi Dilek, and good morning. On this very auspicious occasion of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's 76th birthday, on behalf of everyone here, I would like to offer our greetings and prayer to His Holiness for a very long life, and welcome you all to a very historic Kala Chakra for World Peace 2011 in Washington, D.C. Over the years, His Holiness has given many Kala Chakra initiations in the West, including the United States. However, this is the first one in the capital of this great nation. Decisions made here in Washington, D.C. daily affect the lives of billions of people all over the world. Throughout his life, His Holiness has tirelessly dedicated his life to the promotion of universal human values, religious harmony, and the issue of Tibet. At a time of escalating global tensions and conflicts, it is our fervent belief that the conferment of Kala Chakra by His Holiness here in Washington, D.C. will renew and reinforce the shared basic human values, universal love, compassion, and world peace. Capital Area Tibetan Association is a small community, about 350 Tibetans spread around District of Columbia, Maryland, and Northern Virginia. For a community of this size, organizing a Kalachakra is an undertaking of monumental proportions and a daunting challenge. Yet, when I and my colleagues on the board of the association first assumed office in 2009, we had a vision. Your Holiness, our vision was to amplify your message of peace and harmony. With this goal in mind, we approached His Holiness to bestow a Kalachakra initiation here in Washington, D.C., and Your Holiness, we are deeply gratified and humbled when you consented to our submission. When we began this journey 17 months ago, the challenges were immense. Very few of us had organized an event of such magnitude. In spite of our lack of expertise and experience, one thing we were certain was that with our unshakable faith and belief, and with the blessings of His Holiness, any challenges could be overcome. Today, as we begin this first day of Kalachakra 2011, it is our honor to inform Your Holiness that among us, we have attendees from 48 countries and 5 continents. Although Carter took the initiative, this historic event would not have been possible if not for the involvement and contribution of diverse group of communities and individuals. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to all attendees of the teachings here and to our sponsors and supporters for their generosity and kindness. In addition, we humbly want to offer our work on this great event as an expression of gratitude to the government and the people of the United States and to all those around the world who have so kindly supported the preservation of Tibetan rich culture, spiritual heritage, and distinctive identity over many years. Your kind and generous commitment has enabled Tibet's unique wisdom heritage to survive, spread, and take root in all parts of the world. Finally, on this very special occasion of His Holiness's birthday, please join me in offering a long life prayer for His Holiness in Tibetan. Kari rawe korwe shinkam dir pendan dewa malu jungwe ne jere sigwa tenji yaso ye shabe side pado tenyo ji. Thank you.
On behalf of the City of Washington, D.C., Chairman Kwame Brown of the D.C. City Council will present the city's proclamation welcoming His Holiness to the city. I am honored to present Chairman Brown.
Good morning. On behalf of the Council of the District of Columbia, it is my great pleasure to welcome Your Holiness to the nation's capital. We've been honored so many times as you have visited here to the District of Columbia, but never more so than today, on your 76th birthday. Happy birthday, Your Holiness. Thanks to you, the City of Washington knows that world peace is about the development of inner peace. Thanks to you, we know that nonviolence, is not only about the absence of violence, but about the recognition that we are responsible for the development of our healthy and happy communities. We know that human rights are civil rights and vice versa. As you yourself have said many times during your visits to Washington, D.C., that democracy means voting rights for D.C. citizens. Your Holiness, we believe I believe you called the denial of voting rights quite strange. You wonder why the people of Washington, D.C. live in the world's champion of liberty and freedom and lack full voting rights. We want to say thank you for speaking out to the injustice here in the nation's capital. Your Holiness, we want to thank you for welcoming you into our churches and our schools. The young folks at Booker T. Washington School for the Technology Arts will never forget the time you spent with them. You helped and you gave them inspiration. The women and children at our homeless shelter on N Street Village were uplifted about your story. Your story, how you told them that you were homeless too, having lost your freedom as a boy at the age of 16, lost your country at 24. That meant so much to them. And they really wanted me to tell you thank you for lifting their spirits. Now, Your Holiness, you have brought us great happiness from far away. You have shown us the university of our human experience. You have extended your friendship. You have advocated for our human rights. Therefore, it's my privilege to welcome you again and assure you that Washington, D.C. will always be a place that you could call home. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Did you push on the phone?
Thank you.
Did they? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 나 콩 가시오래. 가시오래. 맞아.
It is an honor and a delight for me now to present a special message from a close friend of His Holiness, someone who is widely regarded as South Africa's and indeed the world's moral conscience, Archbishop Desmond Tutu.
First, a big hello to all my friends in Washington, D.C. I wanted to join you in celebrating my very good friend, His Holiness, the Dalai Lama today. We have 3 special reasons to honor his. First, a big hello to all my friends in Washington, D.C. I wanted to join you in celebrating my very good friend, His Holiness, the Dalai Lama today. We have 3 special reasons to honor His Holiness today. One is, of course, his 76th birthday. And I want to send him a very happy birthday greeting. The second is the incredible rally for world peace in front of the U.S. Capitol. And the third reason to honor His Holiness is his retirement from political life. I'm delighted that so many people have come from all over to hear and celebrate this man who considers himself a simple monk and yet has changed our world. I know that when you sit and listen to him, you are empowered to make change in the world yourselves. And this is how we will do it. I know that trying to bring peace and justice in this world is an enormous task. People sometimes ask me how they can keep going when you feel that they are knocking on the doors of people who don't listen and don't care what they have to say. I say that you do not have to do something huge and magnificent to make change. If each person simply does what they can from where they are, they will make a ripple. It might be in your home with your children. It might be in your job, or it might be as an activist on a cause you care about. But large or small, your goodness and your caring will make a difference. As you look around you at the tens of thousands of people who are sharing this event, and the people around the world watching online, just think of the effect of all of those ripples. Think of the tremendous waves being created. With this many people, that wave is unstoppable. And the people who pretend that they are not listening, believe me, they hear you. Certainly today, they will hear you. As we watch you changing the world, it is not easy for people like me and His Holiness who want to retire and take much needed time for reflection and study. We know that many people turn to us and want our encouragement. And you are, of course, our wonderful friends. So I want to thank you all today for taking on a little bit more and carrying more responsibility for our world, to lighten the load on His Holiness's shoulders. You are giving him the most incredible birthday gift you could give him. More time to pursue the spiritual road he so loves. Your Holiness, a very happy birthday from your friend in Cape Town. Perhaps one day, soon, we will have the opportunity to sit on my front porch, a couple of retirees, sipping rooibos tea and telling stories to the youngsters. Until then, God bless you. And God bless you all on this very, very special day.
My apologies for the little technical difficulty we had in the beginning of this. Following in the footsteps of his grandfather on the path of socio-political activism, Mr. Arun Gandhi is the founder of the M.K. Gandhi Institute for Nonviolence. The institute is dedicated to applying the principles of nonviolence at both local and global scales. Having worked 30 years as a journalist in India, Mr. Gandhi is a writer and an inspirational speaker, sharing Mahatma Gandhi's message of truth and nonviolence all around the world. I am honored to present to you Mr. Gandhi.
Your Holiness, Martin III, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be here today to participate in this wonderful event and the birthday of His Holiness. I come here with a great deal of humility, and when I got the call inviting me to come for this birthday event, I was so amazed and astounded that I had to pinch myself to find out whether I was dreaming or it was real. I am indeed grateful for this invitation and to be here to wish you, on behalf of my grandfather, my entire family, the Gandhi family, wish you all the happiness and health to continue this work of peace that is so important in this world that is torn by violence. I know from your biographies and your several utterances that you have been very impressed by my grandfather, and that one of the regrets that you have is that you were not able to meet him and learn from him. Well, I'm trying to remedy that to a little extent because I did have the privilege of living with my grandfather for 2 years between the age of 12 and 14 and learning some very important lessons from him. And I wrote a book on this, The Legacy of Love, which I have given to you, and I hope that the lessons that I learned will help you as much as they have helped me. One of the lessons that I'd like to share with all of you pertains to peace and nonviolence. My grandfather taught me when I was a little boy, 12 years old, that we have to be as concerned about physical violence as we should be concerned about non-physical violence, what he called passive violence. That we all commit a lot of passive violence every day, consciously and unconsciously, and that generates anger in the victim, and the victim then resorts to physical violence to get justice. And he made me draw a genealogical tree of violence so that I could learn my own weaknesses. And every day before I went to bed, I had to analyze and examine everything that I had experienced during the day and put them down on that genealogical tree of violence. One branch was physical violence and the other branch was passive violence. Now, physical violence is the kind of violence that we are very concerned about, that happens all the time, every day. All the murders and rapes and killings and beatings and the wars and all of these things where we use physical force against one another. But passive violence is something that we tend to ignore because it's sometimes the kind of violence that we don't even recognize as violence. All the hate and the prejudice and the anger and frustration, discrimination, oppression, religious, economic, and the hundreds and hundreds of things that we do every day. When I began to do this introspection, within a few months I was able to fill up a whole wall in my room with acts of passive violence. And that is when my grandfather explained the connection between the two. He said, we commit passive violence all the time, every day, consciously and unconsciously. And that generates anger in the victim. And the victim then resorts to physical violence to get justice. So it is passive violence that fuels the fire of physical violence. So logically, if we want to put out the fire of physical violence, we have to cut off the fuel supply. And since the fuel supply comes from each one of us, we have to become the change that we wish to see in the world. It has to begin with us. We have to transform ourselves, see our weaknesses, change those weaknesses to strengths, and bring peace within ourselves so that then we can build peace in the world. And I'd like to take this occasion to give His Holiness the most profound gift that all of us can give. And that is to invite all of you, those of you who have assembled here today, and those who are listening to this broadcast around the world, to pledge today as a birthday gift to His Holiness that we will no longer hate, we will no longer discriminate, we will no longer be greedy, but that we will always respect each other, irrespective of their religion or their philosophical outlook, that we will love and try to bring peace in this world for the future generations. I hope that you will join me in taking this pledge and making it meaningful for His Holiness to continue the work of peace for many more years to come. I wish you a long life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gandhi. Mr. Martin Luther King III is the founder and president of the King Center in Atlanta, Georgia. Nurtured among individuals deeply committed to the struggle of human rights and a nonviolent society, he assimilates those values and works to motivate audiences around the world with his insightful message. He extols upon us all to roll up our sleeves and do the work necessary to ensure that the dream of full and equal rights for all peoples is realized. I am honored to present Mr. Martin King III.
Let me first thank God for the wonderful opportunity to be here. First to His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, to Mr. Arun Gandhi, to each and every program participant for this very special, special day. I am truly honored to join you today to be a part of this joyful celebration, for we gather on this day to celebrate the 76th birthday of His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama. Truly an incredible and phenomenal spiritual leader who is revered by the people of his beloved homeland, Tibet, and by people all over the world as the very embodiment of compassion. Your Holiness, I wholeheartedly join in this wonderful commemoration of your birthday and the beautiful spirit of compassion you have shared in your travels far and wide. As my birthday present to you, I would like to share something my mother, Coretta Scott King, wrote in her syndicated newspaper column about you back in 1989 when it was announced that you were to be the recipient of the Nobel Prize for Peace, which you accepted 25 years to the day after my father, Martin Luther King Jr., received his Nobel Peace Prize. Here is what my mother wrote. December 10th marks the 25th anniversary of the day I sat in the front row of Allah Hall of Oslo University and watched my husband, Martin Luther King Jr., become the youngest person ever to receive the Nobel Prize for Peace. Bursting with pride, I prayed for humility so that I could concentrate on listening to his acceptance speech. I was a little calmer listening to Martin's Nobel lecture
the following day, in which he talked about the power of love, this Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist belief about ultimate reality. And then my mother wrote that the Buddhist perspective on love will be well represented in Oslo on December 10th, when a self-described simple Buddhist monk, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, will receive the 1989 Nobel Prize for Peace. The Dalai Lama has been a clarion call for nonviolence and freedom, one of the planet's greatest spiritual leaders, and the breadth and depth of his concerns embrace the future of all humankind. Your Holiness, these words come from the woman my father described as the indispensable life partner who made his leadership possible and shared fully in his commitment to nonviolence. I should add here, Mr. Gandhi, that my father was deeply and profoundly influenced by your grandfather, Mohandas K. Gandhi, who I know also lives on as a vibrant presence in the hearts of His Holiness. In his Nobel Peace Prize lecture in 1964, my father said, "We will not build a peaceful world by following a negative path. It is not enough to say we must not wage war. It is necessary to love peace and sacrifice for it. We must concentrate not merely on the negative expulsion of war, but on the positive affirmation of peace. We must see that peace represents a sweeter music, a cosmic melody that is far superior to the discords of war. In short, we must shift the arms race into a peace race. If we have the will and determination to mount such a peace offensive, we will unlock hitherto tightly sealed doors of hope and transform our imminent cosmic elegy into a creative psalm of peace. Your Holiness, today as we celebrate your life and your 76th birthday, as a man of peace and compassion, it is a good time to recommit our hearts and hands to the work of building a peaceful world. Let us all resolve on this day to create a world in which the genius of human beings is no longer directed towards causing violence and destruction, but toward creating a worldwide beloved community in which all people can share in the bountiful fruits of peace and prosperity. In this age of internet, cell phones, and satellite communications, I think we have an unprecedented opportunity to mobilize the forces of peace and reconciliation in every nation. If we embrace the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and the Dalai Lama, we can tap the power of the telecommunications revolution to build a global network of mutually supportive people dedicated to nonviolent action for peace and social justice. We must use this revolutionary technology to create a world in which our religious and ethnic differences are respected and valued as vital components of a beautiful mosaic, a mosaic that reveals the best in us all, black and white, red and brown and yellow, Christian and Jew, Muslim, Buddhist, and Hindu, and all other faiths and philosophies, East and West. We must travel together as sisters and brothers on a new road, a more hopeful and healing road, a road paved with respect for diversity and undergirded with love, a road reinforced with patience, charted by the principles and practices of nonviolence, and leading to world peace. And so in this spirit, I eagerly join in this birthday celebration today, honoring a gigantic spiritual leader whose life and work have embraced that creative psalm of peace. My father envisioned for me, Your Holiness, and for your many supporters and followers in Tibet and worldwide. It is also an occasion for giving thanks for the blessings of your life and all that it has meant to so many around the world. Today we celebrate the luminous example of courage and dedication to peace and goodwill you have provided, and we draw hope and inspiration from your continued visionary leadership. May God continue to bless you in all of your endeavors as you mark yet another cycle of seasons as a tireless champion of compassion, human rights, and peace. And as you begin your 77th year, I share, as we all do, in offering prayers and best wishes for your continued health and the success of your mission to bring freedom and peace to Tibet and all nations throughout the world. Thank you, and may God bless you always.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is a joyful privilege and a great honor to present to you His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet.
No. Yeah. Oh. Take it away. Not working. Okay. Dear brothers and sisters, and particularly the Mahatma Gandhi's grandson, and Martin Luther King's son. Usually, I do not consider birthday something important. Nothing. In our tradition, we consider the death anniversary is more important than birthday. I think that's quite wise. You see, a person, also remember, and the person, the person who really made some good things, good contribution. So then, after his death, we remind him, we remember him, and then some anniversary. That's very good. But birthday, we very much sort of celebrate, but then later that person becomes negative. Then our sort of happy birthday is not much meaning. So I hope, now already 76-year-old, so I don't think there's much danger to become a negative person. So in any way, as a Buddhist monk, I believe every day is new day, birthday. Every day is birthday. The particles of our physical also within 24 hours change. So new things. And then mental thinking, also out of experience, out of knowledge, also is develop. Change. So every day is birthday. The important, we should utilize our every new day proper way. Then days, weeks, months, years, decades, the whole life become something sensible, something meaningful. That is, if you can help others, do it as much as you can. If you cannot, at least restrain harming others. That's the essential of meaningful life. Besides sort of philosophical sort of explanation, yeah, it is true, exists. Our life here, if we create this life, this life creates more trouble. What's the meaning? At least about 100 years. So must be some sensible person. We are a social animal. So one's own individual's future very much depends on the rest of the people. So the rest of the people is source of one's own happy life. So realize that we must serve them, we must help them as much as you can, and at least restrain harming. So now, firstly, I want to thank my long-time spiritual elder brother, Bishop Tutu. His sort of verbal message, I was much touched. So, I want to thank to him. One thing I'm missing, when we met, so person to person, we always teasing each other. So that missing here. As he mentioned, both retired, so more leisure time. So he hoping meeting more leisure. So there is sort of possibility. My intention, go to South Africa, October, on his birthday. So, of course, I'm not very sure whether possible go there or not, I don't know. But if you see my sort of visit materialize, then I'm looking forward to see him, not only seeing him, not only exchange some sort of warm, sort of hearted sort of word, but also some teasing. He often described me as a mischievous Dalai Lama. So I also sort of teasing him, mischievous Archbishop. So in any way, a wonderful person. So I want to thank him. Then you too. I never met Mahatma Gandhi ji and Martin Luther King, but I always admire their contribution for better world, and directly their own concerned community, but indirectly to humanity. So I am not only just an admirer of both Mahatma Gandhi ji, Martin Luther King, but also I try my best to carry their spirit to promote non-violence. And as you mentioned, non-violence is not just absence of violence. But non-violence very much sort of related with compassionate motivation, genuine sense of concern of well-being of other. That's the source of non-violence. So long the sense of well-being of other, then there is no room to bully, to cheat, to harm. So just mere sort of absence of violence, sometimes out of fear, you can practice non-violence outwardly. But inward, full of hatred, full of fear, that's not non-violence. Non-violence, full of self-confidence, warm-heartedness. Look at the, as the human brothers, sisters, even animals, living beings. So with understanding that, then resisting harming others. If possible, serve them. That's non-violence. So then I very much sort of appreciate you mentioned the best gift for my birthday is the people here. What's it?
Make a pledge.
Make
a pledge.
Make a pledge is it to now on follow non-violent principle. So I very much appreciate. I very much appreciate. I often telling people the same way when some people you see ask me some message on their my birthday sort of celebration, and I always tell them the best gift to me is practice compassion. That's the really best because of the happy birthday's gift. So like that. And then you mentioned both great sort of leaders, Mahatma Gandhi ji and Martin Luther King, both, I'll say, passed away, but their spirit still very much alive. So like all other, all sort of past, great spiritual leaders, like Buddha, Mahavira, and Krishna, and Jesus Christ, Muhammad, and so on. 1,000 years ago, they exist 1,000 years ago, but their spirit is still very much alive. So similarly, this great teacher of humanity, non-violence, and not only teach by word, but they implement, hold their sort of, I think, life. So therefore, you see, we have to keep their spirit. And in order to carry that, first, self-confidence, optimism, that's important. That I want to tell you. And then what else? I don't know. Oh yes, in the front of these two great persons, as a sort of form of report, my commitment. Firstly, I'm one of the now nearly 7 billion human beings. There's a fundamental level we all same. The different races, different color, different nationality, different religion, different sort of position, or different sort of social background, these are secondary. The first level, we are same human being. So all, I think, universal values, based on that, some of the values based on secondary level, that will not be universal. So my first commitment is promoting human inner value. That is, we want happy life. We want a happy society, happy family. The source of happiness on all levels, not money, not material value, not material facility or power, but within ourselves. Calm mind, peaceful mind, and full of self-confidence. That brings inner peace. That reduces fear. That reduces anger. That reduces hatred. So ultimate source of happiness within ourselves. So inner peace, not necessarily through prayer, but use our common sense. And based on the latest scientific finding, calm mind brings good health. So healthy mind, healthy body, very much so related. So that's my number one commitment, to promote, make clear, make awareness, people, everyone happy life. Everyone have the right. But we try to happiness seek from outside. Money, power, status. I think in reality, more money, more worry, more fear, more distrust. At high position, more worry, more fear. As a result, more hypocrisy. So, real sort of source of happiness is within ourselves. That's everybody, whether educated, non-educated, rich, poor, believer, non-believer, no differences. We are all same. So that's my number one commitment. And then second commitment, religious harmony. Here also I really feel some kind of significance. The Arun Samare, the grandson, Baba Gandhi, basically Hindu. You basically Christian. So two persons belongs Hinduism and Christianity, gives greeting to a Buddhist. This also is some kind of the significance of religious harmony. We truly have the sense of spiritual brothers, sisters. I very much appreciate. I very much appreciate. So then those, I think, the representative of different sort of people, Mongolian, Japanese, or Chinese, and Khalsa Jyoti. Oh, many people. Historically, we have a very close connection. Of course, the Dalai Lama institution, Dalai Lama lineage, last 600 years. So it's some special connection with these people. So you came to greet me on this sort of occasion. I very much appreciate. Thank you. Then, there are those young Tibetan children. They're singing very well. I'm wondering how many hours they wasted for training that. I don't know. So more important, education. That's very, very important. And then also education, there are two kinds of education. One education, I think, modern education, mainly related with material development. So more materialistic sort of education. Then our own traditional education about our inner value. So in order to be a full Tibetan, complete Tibetan, you must have these both. Education about sort of brain, education about warm-heartedness. These two things you should have. So these children, I think wherever Tibetan community live, you see, they really pay more attention. I was told now younger generation, the better education, now they begin to realize the importance of their own culture, their own inner values. That's a very healthy sign. So I must thank then all the people here came here not for some kind of 3 persons performance or something, but sincerely, you see, come here to show your genuine love and compassion. So I very much appreciate. Thank you. Then I was told there's some sort of, what's the video. I think they broadcast Tibetan service inside Tibet, and also here some Tibetans. So now, may I speak in Tibetan? Few words. Okay. So this is something top confidential, top secret. The camera, where is the camera? Okay. Kodo. I can't see. That red one. Oh, I see. So, Philippines, the century yodenge, chiro pomozine ra. 대신도 시리 자치면만 다들 류부 샹왕 고알 라완 차제 강에 차는 요리디 이내 디 쿠란이 줄기베 디샤 이내 낭 삼루디 혀 미릭 먼저 강자바 세하기 삼루 벌을 출시버체 다 여댕에기 시리 다시면만 자 상황을 올려 들대 내 안다 제가 다 니무데 자도 trans수도 시켜야래 투시시시 믹스가 참지요 다 조치시 말한조 비리 지구남대 용속에 말 최제 거진수 금내 송지기 별이야 나도 투모모인데 소소 이기자래 대단들에 아니 소소 벽에야래 벽이 깨이 나라 저렇게서 전부들 뛰가로 더나 싸바지야게 산제베 택배 지중 받아 잡아 차 상황지 너나 저렇게 해서 체력에 나네 이네 산제베 도텐주가 나네 숭셰베 즉 심기 남샤 데즈탈이야 믹스에게다 더 나한다 데네수 엔다 내가 럽이야 데네게다 더 나서 사버치 되기도 와 애는 나무 산제베 철을 차샤나 저물이 뛰가라 남배 제거 먹고 사야래 남배 최층에 싸야 먹고 야래 레디네 산제베 차상지 서버다 다쳐와 세매 슝도 잡아 차상 예대버디 패질 베베게 장자르샤 자 디데 인도산에 말아도 비미 지구남도 용수sob에 소스 매부즈 깔래 때문에 주셔베 게이 축구디 아주 내봐도다 무튼 진투셔야지 백하신 분이 대대첩지 등두기 시행 새로운셔야지 하장 개신 분이 게임은 자식 시투스 뭐인데 남등 드름니슈 다 드름니슈 쓰는데 다 드름니슈 저집에 간다 탱그럽게 시행 아주 차상지다 뒤에 차롱지 거야 돼 제게 루주지낸다 시를 현재주의낸다 땡에 바로도 다 터나 쳐보셨네 슈게로 지사 지기 양 대도 첩지 별랑이기 게이 유네 신유 망부지 알아 소 생시즈들의 시대에 진짜 신유인데 지름미 지용 차는 샤베 있나요? 들으슈 써지버 디지인데 들으슈 써지버 거나 참스과 참튜과 대영화래야 이지과 이지영화로 장된과 장대영화로 학성과 그래서 딘제게 달랍지디 맞아 베베게 이나를 여대베 쳐도 리슌디게 뭐나 자네겠다 미 심규 시시되어지다 미 여럽지다 미 잡아싸우지 미 장된지 써야 되거든 자상가 말한줄 미리지 배니 지 믹스에 물도 캐주상 모임바 전부니 찌를 사자네 맞아 베베 쳐도 리슌디게 칼라 강성의 판도 제대하시 요래 자 디리인도 딩두기 시행의 첩지 소소 릉일이야 매럽네 여대베 소소 쳐들이순디 다우자데 베개치버리 다우자서디 거바좀서 통하면 건데 다우자 버려 마도 거바좀서 마통아 책 소리 제제 다우자서 수직식 말이 산지 좀 되게 차셔네 남고 저거를 우주형 중문도 와 소소 랑와지 샤셔도 이내 산제베 추기 따서 내가 셔바이나 그 판도에 되지 사과도 생 축배 그돌이야 판도에 되지 저번에 축대에 그돌을 판도에 되지 이번 인도산에 애니 시에는 대바탑이야 지다 교생통 거바시베 권에 될 통하셔야지 연구를 봐. 자, 뒤에 인도 간다 벽 쳐들이숑 냐바소지 민영 공부 시작을 했을 때에 뭐요 내줄 판도에 되지다 거기 되지 타네 시기 여러 마도 아베 파바르 상신사 디게지 말해 디지가 신이 되어서 대대 첩지 말한서 벤저 야게 매나 소다 소래 첩는 시지 자 디리 뭐 이두산에 벤저 차주 거야 돼 다들 야게 줘야 돼 기분 개심 버리셔 시지 미만 참을로 가다 벤저 누구 지쳐야 돼 개심 버려 야 벤저不如 거로 깨체 벤저 나다로 어즈 옆에 커도라 대미기 지 겸부 예배怎么这样 아니 창라 처음에 통야 아니 지 대미기 지 괜찮 담만다 쓰는 도대야 나를 시제연대 매버질라 치 괜찮 초부 지차 가도 견대가 있나 대모서 시작하면도 와 정해만는 게 시행이 그래서 나라서 뺀저 yar게로 오 중에 그도라 인지민지 시행의 yar게 동야 최대 yar게 동야 대 시류 사샤는 싱로서 그 yar게시다 멋집에 살아 나도 런이 그 랑도 랑지체 디슈자데 베케시모도 내가 직생이 되어서 엔데는 나라서 그 시지 과를 이내 지 배배지서 나올라 지 관바 치중 매와 하려면 요 말에 딱 나서 근데 시 rob중 포모 다가는 시 안장 순제기 시 긴든 뒤디 가와요 이네 관바 가와요 이네 시 탱행 안한저 지 루스기 초가 차가래로 직대 산제가 쳐서야 돼 근저인 봐 시내서 근저인 봐 람지내서 근저인 봐 데뷔내서 근저인 봐 디게데 돈하잖아 맞아 로종 그 돈하 맞아 버체 가게 마시 버체 애는 아주 밤에 그 루스인 돈도로 제제 만들어야 돼 가다 등기민도 내 남주 따과 지 낭배치 시간 3월 세대기 대리수 있는다 일본인인다 코리아 베트남이스 소보 다가는 시기 지금 뭐뭐도 스리랑카도 타일랜드 지도하게 다 나와 3월이야 내 디셔되기 난주 들을 주 써지면 나와 저거다스 대 가려서는 산제비 추기 캐주 균제 거봐 rigbe lamne tang la phomni chasang ji shebe thane ene sanje che gindu le jep syo la ba yina shene taba tobe jamjure ene ngona tane gi sanje be che 신이 상처요. 산제 가이브 마시, 최 가이브 마시, 긴두 가이브 마시 비체 책상실 라바 있나? 개고 다시 소리를 마도 야나 튼주 잡도 때문에 소리를 마도 네 신상 용기야마. 사들이 이르산에 인신민지 로종 타자 통나치야. 멋이 들게서 별 나리야. 지기다 당아 지 슝진기 천년 유밀 마도에 들게서 통나 싸버치 돼야지. 용기여다 하장 가보죠. 인지민지 지 슝진 롭종 동하게 슝진카 롭종 지하라 아니 쿨 체스처라지 어디신이 되죠. 엔드 다다버도 다 레벨로 업주 주주 간드로 되기야래 시지 매망지다 사고를 실류 자체 매망 하삼 닝도 미리게 라자 shumbebechen debere 막주요 대다 첩지 배배 시거디 저불이 디가 알라 배바 유여 되게 민망고지기 너는 결이 잡을 먹고지기 배배 시거디 삼바상고 장된칭에 님중칭에 양식도 쓰네 나주식도 와 진짜게 아주 배배 곰시 상부디 렌당 차르지 녀야 요 말에 소저서야 요 말에 나도 파면에 막 곰시 자들지 디 나주 캐널이 임지 뭐셔버치는 따고대야 돼 뺏겨지 못해 저 드리게서 지 나주 전주리는 배배 나리야 나주 배배지 뭐네 지금 여럽다 상부 잡아디 갈래라마 냠자 두고 예배 남주든데 전부 통야도 와 별이네 대대시 연구로 와 최선의 꽉서를 수십 차 연도 애들 와게 표지 내줘서 나네 지 꽉서를 수 샤서는데 전부 연구에 계시도 봐. 다 진짜 캔 말하셔야 돼. 왜 계시물이 대시를 가지면 다가는 신기 체기 매만소리야. 다 들대 남경아대 된대기 치기 총가를 세네 계시 뒤진데 지금 자고 사람들 하게 지금에 더 나거면 다 들대 된대기 지금 자고로 사실 제배인데 나 그것도 심제 그냥 상물어라 말에 sem을 여대be sem주디 직신인데서 애는 주대 다 벌금 요직 치야래 장왕기 막 라장 쇼르베 간데포라마 차네 달로 하람 축제듯이 저 긴디 자존에 손지기 간데포랑 차네 도스리 애는 군지 공만 시ring을 간데포랑 최저 장장 쟁개마도 칩식이 쟁개 요마래 공상가바 칩급네 손지기다 하람로 쉽게 사마신 친디야래 대쟁라 다 추신이 우치체 대대래 대단 점니 지용기 저 망고지 도 스타일이잖아 대 투주 열 남지마도 요어야 타쳐 요어야 돼 코르치 요 메동 까매지기 타네 요치베 있나 뜨거하게 밀어가 그래서 다한테 투주대 다 나다 군지 견지 다 주시베 명시 타대야래 지금 배가지이네 지 하람 자서 고주 고고 말이야 이지셔 되게 하래 나봐요 엔 전문이 디간이네 패질 미스 사야 가시게 패질다 나모르 신체 가면으로 지게 하래 근데 지기 뒤주대 신경의 왕게 교동 뭐인바 라왕게 타네 랑게 데베 탕돌란데 나도 나르게다 루스 투주에 차르데 딱 가신 쪼시 뽑행 안에 교동해야 돼 신도 여러시 통도 아니 가서 비미 최를 자샤네 망주 고도 시라다 야고래 다 레벨로 따주 라스티징을 아주 식 첩식 겐쿨게 깔른 첩디 위두체니 그렇지 로주징을 내 내단데 체계 요소시 대디가 다 다자 롱가랑가리 삼리아 위두체네 따디 탱 수버들레디아레 따들이 안자다 다 가다 첩시 갱쿵게 위두체 인도산에 샴바 야할게 야할 살 시 로종 등르고 신 차상어 여시제 된지지글 망무 위두 터버래 싫어요 아주 배배 지수 미 삼류 나다르데 그로야다 차토블레베 다 세브샤 자 디레 이르산에 다 로십겨서 침배 간다지 간대포랑기 첩식이 갱해야 돼다 참셔야 돼 뭐 투즈 딱다 점버지 그 통용도 자 디레 이르산에 디디 벌거 아주 대전주 저서 님돌이야 나지 구두 제세 애는 냠지 시제 체스 손님들 서제 구두 십대 제비 애이네 타면 되되 다나 충중 로 주시 정하는 소원지기 만주 탱해 벽을 넘루디 디기면도 사버지기 로리야 디디기 통주 세워요 레디게도 없거든 따라게도 없거든 저라 지 야오라 매버지 그 통되기 쟤는 내 대한 취신이 갱키를 제라 패저 업중 너니 무슨 도알이야 렉주 송도 조제 주주 동야 되는 게 고조래 엔 타만 업중 어글로 가서 산주 차차를 제라 다 수식을 답도 저거 말 소소 라왕을 도안에 주주단도 이번 이루산에 산주를 레벨 로직 능출을 망주 교주 동야 디디 아주 고조래 아니 지로 니동 찍을로네 첩시 겐디 위두체베 미디기 겐 차상키 나데 다음에 수계제트야다 드대중은 게 구두차 연구를 마도 생애데 타가 저 매버체 두 스텝이 투쇼하게 치요 말에 다 안다 다 네디 간데보랑 게 첩시 겐 파샤체 첩시 겐 구르디 위두체베 미디기 겐 쌍마치키야 디체 연도 다 맞아야 지 데미 레저버들 데미 공정의 레저버 가시기 벽에 내서 미치를 투디야래 미치기 개 용기야래 데 매버 차서는 배변에서 예도를 쓰는 시대야데 담아 말해 콩미 계절에 레동 소리지 다 레동 이모도 들고 뭐서다 땡투 여러분이 연애면에 여러분이 협식이 참샤제 유두산의 첩시 경구 위두셰베 미디기 차상 갱키연도 다 세브 쉽차 만주대 차진에 망주 다자 다탐바 생이상한 샤데요 아래 니네 땡부 쉽차 벌급 교주다데 마심수 차베 소리다 배들 저라베 소리지 근데 그다음에 유주당 싸워 니네 맞다 다가 난신게 가서 때 센주 슝세네 배가 나는 슝세하고 다다 누구야 가서 라장 슝세야 추 슝세하로 미장 슝세야 아주 시그러 책대 거야 타네 아주 별 슝세네 여대버디 다자 뭐나 전에 그 망조 매만 위주신 레데베 슝 구치지 차대요 인식에 나 프라임 미니스터스야 책대 야 거야디 아주 냐만에 책들을 그요 말이에요. 아주 전주 직수 구치 쓰셔야 돼요. 자 디레 이르산에 아주 때 전주 직수 쓰는다. 간다 표슝 쓰는다. 간다 안다 여대버디 다 사대 폭빌 뒤 림부지리야 무트니 대토야 된다라 교주기 따마를 마도 표슝 도서제버요 말이 별슝 님이서봐요 말이 대가 편자래야 달랄라마 세아기 달랄라마 인스티튜션 여러분 지금 라장세아로 된데 지기 민기원에 애니 지기 지금 살라마세로 세장도 별슝사지 두스테디기 그래 다디 야와세브 체유르산에 그 텔라바가 지기 지도서 야오지 뭐주나 그 땡여래 소신 자가숑을 자갔다야. 다가는 시기 지금 lungo 먹고 지기. 또 제가 강에 쳐야 돼. 그 영식이. 진짜 인도산에 나저 핀조 잡죠 정해서에 강에 맞춰야. 나저 배배면에 이네 지기 치를 찍대 나를 야지 야 인즈 면즈샤. 다 뒷매버지. 치세 낭세 강다벽에 누구 제목하지 다 영향을 전달라 대리한다 탁주 싸바 요 싸바 도스리 사디 창삼월로 시지자 그사 시류 자시 매만이네다 전주를 이런 가볼 수 있는다 롯데보 샘 흘려체니 슈아 단단 뭐만 야고 좀 고마쳐체 장랑 신 계제서인데 애니야 지금 나도 부르잖아 야오케면도 봐 하버트에 시류 자시면만 이게 지금 내주 상으로 찍다 지금 땀념으로 가르쳐야 연하삼니 대대be 그돌라 애니 고마츠베 쪼담든데 샤베이나 디판도케면도 봐 야나 담바이나 금세 찍는 이수상배 금세 샤고래 된제 매대베 계속 다가시 애니 차담고 서로 우르쇼 서로 된제 샤베이나 야오면도 봐 대창상으로 셈리야 내려시라 샤스바 자 들이 인도 벌거 왔는 게 주주다부터 얘기 가봐 중세 이게바 찍다 투주를 따다 잡았지 뒤에 로만 그 코네 롱업주 축주 링기 삼로 예대버지 다다 라는 깨르지 수스대 간대보라는 차샤베 있나 간대보라는 내다 때문에 심벌해 장왕군지 림주야야 때문에 심벌해 자 들이 이렇게 상상으로 올라 대우지 쇼로나 다가이 됐어요. Sorry, a little bit long. Sorry. I just mentioned, you see, the Tibetan outside, as inside Tibet, we now are sort of immediate, our real sort of responsibility is pay more attention about education. Education, modern education, as well as our own traditional education, which is directly related with our inner value. Then make more sort of money. That also very important. While we telling, oh, this life not much meaning, must think about next life. But in practical reason, we have to think more about this life. So without money, you can't be a healthy family, healthy community. So money is very important. But at the same time, more money, then, kasa, gambling, very bad. And then also the alcohol, and sometimes drugs. These are very bad. Self-destruction. So, making more money, and then that money must use for education, health, particularly in remote area inside Tibet, where facility of education, health, much worse. So, we must sort of utilize our money that way, not just gambling and alcohol, and also some sort of ornament, jewelry. It's quite shameful. Here, empty. Here also empty. Then some jewelry. What use? Really shameful. So I mentioned that. Then all those monasteries. Then our education, Tibetan script, Tibetan language, very unique and highly developed. Today, I think the richest information about Buddha Dharma available only in Tibetan language. It is really our treasure. That I mentioned. Then monasteries, nunneries, and also those monasteries which
Lay practitioner.
A lay practitioner. All, see, we should be 21st century Buddhist. That means we should have fuller knowledge about the Buddha Dharma. With fuller knowledge, then develop faith. That's a 21st century Buddhist. We simply, you see, claim oneself as a Buddhist, but do not know what is Buddhism. That's outdated. We must study. We must acquire fuller knowledge about what is Buddhism. So that I mentioned. Then, last point I mentioned my sort of recent decision. That 4th century old Dalai Lama institution as a head of both temporal and spiritual. Now that sooner or later must end. So now this moment, of course, the 14th Dalai Lama, sometimes I jokingly telling people, great 14th Dalai Lama. So in any way, I am quite popular among Tibetan. And also, outside world, also you see, there are a lot of people who really sort of loves me. So therefore, such a sort of popular Dalai Lama, voluntarily, happily, proudly, and the 4th century old Dalai Lama institution sort of political power. So usually I telling, you see, I think last is a few decades, I always telling people, religious institution and the political institution should be separate. I believe that. So while I'm telling other people, the religious institution, political institution should be separate, then I myself combine these two. So that's hypocrisy. I'm saying something, practice different way. That's a hypocritical sort of expression. So therefore, now on, I can tell people, religious institution and the temporal institution must be separate. So I myself fully implement that. So my statement now become something very honest. Otherwise, you see, people say, oh, he tell like that, but he himself still keep these two, because of both responsibility. So it becomes hypocrisy. So now that's, you see, so these sort of change, not out of sort of hopeless or discourage myself, never. So I mentioned these things. So that's all, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What do you think? What do you think? Is my
and in conclusion, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Lobsang Nyendak, representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to the Americas.
Your Holiness, Shri Arun Gandhiji, Mr. Martin Luther King III, and dear brothers and sisters, the 20th century is generally perceived as a century of war and violence, when tens of millions of people had died a violent death. This same century, however, also witnessed outstanding apostles of peace and nonviolence who brought freedom and justice to millions of subjugated peoples around the world. Amongst those champions of peace is Mahatma Gandhi, father of the great Indian nation, who is represented here by none other than his grandson, Arun Gandhiji. Your presence here has made this occasion a memorable day. On behalf of the organizers of this event and the people who are gathered here, and also on behalf of the Tibetan people inside Tibet, who have no freedom to celebrate the birthday of His Holiness, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to you. Another historical champion of peace is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose name is in the hearts of all those people who care about peace and nonviolence and who care about freedom and social justice. We are immensely grateful to Martin Luther King III, son of Dr. Martin Luther King, for joining us today on this special celebration and making this occasion truly historic. Thank you very much. Your Holiness, there are no words enough to express our gratitude to your commitment in bringing about happiness and peace in every human being. Every word you speak, every smile you share, and every teaching you bestow makes a profound impact in the lives of millions of people. The international community regards Your Holiness as one of the greatest apostles of peace and nonviolence. For Tibetan people, you are much more than a promoter of peace. Your mere presence brings hopes to the people and nation of Tibet. Your Holiness, you have voluntarily ended the 400-year-old system of being both the temporal and spiritual head of the Tibetan nation and transferred all political and administrative authority to the elected representatives of the Tibetan people. This historic decision was made keeping in view the long-term benefit of the Tibetan people. There is no better way to thank Your Holiness, and there is no better gift for Your Holiness on your birthday if each one of us promises to generate within ourselves the good human values such as love, compassion, tolerance, and forgiveness, which are the lifelong commitment of Your Holiness. The making of this event was memorable indeed for everyone involved, and I wish to take this opportunity to express my most sincere appreciation to the Capital Area Tibetan Association for their fullest cooperation, my colleague, Special Envoy Gary Rinpoche, for his guidance and help, and to the International Campaign for Tibet for their cooperation. I also wish to thank the City of Washington, D.C. for honoring His Holiness and also providing a warm reception to His Holiness whenever he visits the city. We are always deeply appreciative of all the courtesies extended by the U.S. government and in particular the Department of State. And finally, on behalf of all the Tibetans in North America, inside Tibet and around the world, as well as all your well-wishers gathered here, I want to wish Your Holiness a very, very happy birthday. Tashi Delek.